Once again, I'm pleased to welcome our audience to another UOD Care video interview. And today I have with me Vince Voong from Satco, who would be well known to many of you, I think. And the subject we're going to talk about is the whole area of fire containment. Now, you might think that fire containment has sort of gone a little bit into the background in recent months with the COVID discussion and COVID situation. But the reality is that fire containment still has to remain front and center, a safety issue for the air cargo industry. The risks are not getting any less. They're probably getting worse. The lithium batteries are getting more powerful. The number of devices in using lithium batteries are getting more and more prevalent every day, and the problems still exist. So without further ado, I will turn the microphone over to Vince, and let's hear what he has to say on the subject. Vince, the stage is yours.
Great, thank you, Bob, and thanks for inviting me. Again, my name is Vince Voong. I am the EVP and COO of Satco. I've been in the industry now approaching 15 years, believe it or not, and I've met you, Bob, basically about 14, 15 years ago when I first started. When I first started, of course, UOD, what is a UOD? Because my backgrounds before that was, it was in metals distribution. So I was familiar with metals. Actually, that's how I knew of Satco. That was my history. But at that time, when I first joined, I realized we had some activities where we actually invested in research and development on fire containment. But at the time, we were working with another, one of our customers, a well-known customer, and it was a collaboration. So our involvement with fire containment in general has been over 2 decades, actually. Obviously, we were trying to design and develop, passive resistant type containers, and also it was more of on a Class A currently, standards, which is still, being drafted and hopefully passed pretty soon in the SAE, at least for the AS 8992 draft. So we spent a lot of time because we realized the threat and the risk of the fire on the aircraft. And for us I have personal experience with witnessing all these different types of tests, from a Class A all the way up to a Class D. And I have a different perspective now to be able to observe of what can happen if especially a Class D fire can occur. And I can tell you, based on my observations, I do not wish upon anyone. And it is just, the power and the violence of these lithium battery type fires is just incredible. It's ferocious, and it's very volatile, and you don't want to be in that position. So that is why, Satco is so involved, especially in today, where we're investing a lot of financial resources and also time to come up with the world's safest UOD equipment, which includes, FRCs, of course. We've been doing it for, again, over 20 years. And believe it or not, the first time that we actually supplied FRCs into the market, but we've done it in sort of in a low, under the radar type situation since 2008. So that's the number of years of experience we've had. And then in terms of getting into the Class D, which was not until recently, that we start to really put the money where our mouth is in terms of enhancing aviation safety, in particular fire safety. I can tell you that it's so far what we've learned, obviously there's failures and there's successes. And we learn from our mistakes and failures. And it's important that we do know, because when it comes to lithium battery fire, nothing is predictable. And because it's very dynamic, you never know from one test to another. Compared to a Class A fire, there's a little bit predictability. Most of the excitement that if anything happens is normally within the first half an hour or an hour, and from that point on, it's predictable. But when it comes to lithium battery fire, all bets are off. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm hearing everything you're saying, Vince, and like you, I haven't actually had the opportunity to witness any of the tests, but I've seen plenty of videos of these lithium battery fires, and I mean, when they go, they really go. It's spectacular, and you're absolutely right. And I think both Boeing and Airbus have made it abundantly clear that the aircraft are simply not designed to be able to withstand this kind of intensity of fire. Do you have anything to share with our audience on how you feel technologies may help us in this? Is there anything we should be looking forward to in the coming not months, but probably years, in terms of more effective fire containment, or are we kind of pretty well constrained with what we've got?
Well, in terms of designing for example, a container that contain a fire, it's I sort of break it down to a very simple equation. One part is the material selection, and that's a big part of it. And also the other part of the equation in terms of controlling a fire, if it starts within the container, is the control of the airflow or oxygen going in and out. So just to let you know, there is technology in terms of materials, which includes composites. And the composites that we're talking about is a mixture of whether it's aramid along with fiberglass, and there is other technology that is out there available, which is still waiting to be exploited. Is not the proper word, but let's say we can definitely advance it, which is like basalt technology, which is materials that are already burned, if you will, from volcanic ash. And there's a technology that exists out there that would be able to be integrated with the materials, which can also increase the temperature or the heat resistance to it. And we've actually had SATCO success in actually containing lithium battery fire with our design. So again, material selection, and also you have to develop the whole container system to be able to regulate the airflow, and which the big part of it is the door technology, to be able to do that. So, and we have 3 different types. 2 of them is actually patented. You're probably familiar, Bob, with the roll-up door technology. That actually is FRC compatible. We also have what we call an express door, which is a cross-cable tensioning door system that positively seals with a lot of tension around the door jamb and around the perimeter. And also we have a what we call a hybrid door system, which is in its default position, it's a narrow package or roll-up door, but on the sides, what used to be fixed panels or walls on the door side, we actually are able to make it where it's actually 2 swing doors that could actually swing out to its side, so it can fully open. So, and all of those door technology we actually have tested and successfully contained, including lithium battery fire. So for example, like an AKE FRC, we have tested 5,000 lithium ion battery with our express door, which has no Velcro or no door bar. that is attached to it. So it's lightweight, but it's very secure. And glad to say that we're able to contain a fire for 6 hours, lithium battery fire. The test that we've conducted that failed, actually, when the fire actually goes off, it's like a war zone, believe it or not, inside the container. I mean, the batteries literally, they explode like fireworks and they become projectiles. So it is very, very dangerous. I mean, you can hear it pop. I mean, the smell of the toxic fluoride emissions coming out of it, you just don't want to be in that situation. So, but right now we do have technology that can contain fire. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop there. We're actually going to continue to move forward by investing more R&D, because like you mentioned, Bob, that technology continues to evolve. Batteries will continue to be more powerful. And, you know, we're a society that we're sort of addicted to electronic devices, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know, I was out on the ramp in Hong Kong last week showing some people some aspects of ULD management, and there was 4 UPS 747s side by side loading up, and I can't tell you how many FRCs were there, but I don't think I saw a UPS unit that wasn't an FRC. I mean, they really have embraced this enormously. And I think one of the interesting challenges, though, here is if FRCs become widespread, the challenge is going to be in the handling and the maintenance, because as we all know, this industry is not particularly good at looking after ULDs. But with a fire-resistant container, the condition is far more critical. So I think that also is going to be a huge challenge for the industry. And we're going to have to look at other technologies such as the virtual reality training and better tracking of ULD responsibility in order to be able to really successfully adapt to these new devices. But anyway, Vince, you told me you wanted to sort of make a bit of an announcement during this interview. So please, the floor is yours.
Yes, actually, this is an exclusive to ULD Care hosted by Bob Rogers. And we are so pleased to announce to the industry, to the world, of our commitment in terms of enhancing aviation safety. And we're putting out a lot of resources. As you know, we've been supplying FRCs in the industry for over 12 years now. And the exciting announcement is that we're making a Class A fire-resistant containment capability now a standard feature, just like all of the standard features that we sort of take for granted these days. Let's say when we purchase a vehicle, airbags, anti-lock brakes. At one time, it was we had to pay a premium as well.
Yeah.
But that's what our commitment is, to make a Class A FRC feature a standard now.
Wow. So you mean each and every container that goes out of the door in El Segundo will essentially be Class A capable?
Minimum, correct.
Wow.
And of course, we have our premium class, which is the Class D.
Yes. Yeah.
And we have that's available too. Correct.
Yeah. Wow. That's an interesting step forward, and I certainly congratulate you on going in that direction. I mean, this is an industry where safety always has to be a constraint. And as you said, more and more electronics, more and more lithium batteries. They're not going away. I remember being told a few years ago, I think it was by Dave Brennan, the IATA DG manager, oh, there'll be new battery types coming and, you know, that'll solve the problem. Well, I'm still waiting for that moment. I think there is still talk of the possibility of something replacing lithium batteries, and maybe it will be less dangerous, but maybe it'll be more dangerous. So yeah, you are to be congratulated on taking that step. Yeah, fantastic.
Well, thank you very much. And this is only made available because of the vision and the directive from the owner of Satco, and Mrs. Mary Looker, and also our president and CEO, whom I know, I for sure know who I'm talking about, which is Mike Proctor.
Yeah.
And so they have this vision because for us to be part of this community, safety is just paramount, and this it's just not, it cannot be compromised.
That's right. Unfortunately, it does get sometimes in the front line of the hurly-burly on the ramp, it does get overlooked. But if the OEMs aren't putting safety first and foremost, then there's no chance of it getting implemented out there in the field. So
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, and finally, because I am a little bit watching the time here,
Yes.
you wanted to make another announcement regarding a new business division in Satco. You want to tell us a bit more about that?
I do. Thank you very much for that. And actually, that was the other exclusive announcement. We were thinking of actually doing it on your platform, UOD Care, Bob, but the timing just didn't work out. But you are the first who I've spoken to.
Okay.
So yes, we, back in September 1st, we launched a new division called UOD Rentals. And this came about due to customers coming to us, and also the market surveys that we have conducted to see if it made sense for Satco as an OEM also to get into that leasing or rental market.
Okay.
And it's been an overwhelming a success or actually demand, because what we hear from the public is that even though there's a few players in the world, there's just still not enough equipment or the right mix. And this is where I believe Satco is in a unique position as an OEM to basically fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And so that's how we came up with UOD Rentals, and to basically supply the market with any opportunities for short or long-term leases of pallet or container equipment. So.
Well, yeah, first of all, I certainly wish you the best of luck in that new endeavor. No question that ULD rental is certainly one leg in the ULD stool, as it were. This year, I know everybody's struggling. I was talking to an airline yesterday who's got an enormous amount of equipment trapped in London and simply can't get it back to base, simply because first of all, there aren't the flights, and when there are the flights, they're full of revenue cargo, and there's no possibility to return empty ULD. So I do absolutely agree. If it hadn't been for ULD rental availability in these last few months, I think a lot less cargo would actually have moved. But of course, it's not going to get any kind of adulation. It's just going to be taken for granted, but that's life.
That's right. That's right.
Vince,
Yeah.
I think we're just about out of time. So thank you
Okay.
very, very, very much for this for this opportunity to hear about your views on fire containment and your other announcements. Really appreciate it. And yes, I look forward to hearing more news as time goes by.
Absolutely, Bob, and thank you very much. You know, it's all about innovations, and we also want to thank you for your commitment and dedication to the industry, and that is raising awareness of ULD. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Vince.
Okay, take care.